Morning and welcome to Daf Yomi Maseches Taanit, Daf Chaf Beis number 22. Last night I wanted to rejoice in the simcha of Hanukkah. You know, you're always looking for ways. People ask me on Shabbos, what have you done for Hanukkah? What have you done to celebrate Hanukkah? I said, I danced with my kids. I played a little dreidel. Not good enough, right? I had to do something. So we had a kumsitz. You don't know what a kumsitz is? Kumsitz is someone basically playing guitar. You sing some songs, say some divrei Torah, have some nice food. That's a kumsitz. Now, in Israel, I don't know, maybe in America also, they actually shorten the word. It's not just kumsitz, it's called a zitz. A zitz. In America, we think of zits are like pimples on your face. You don't want to get zits. But in Israel, you want zitzim. You want zitzes. You want a zitz. So I went to my brother-in-law's house, and we had some pizza and a guitarist, and he was saying a story. He was saying a story about somebody in the Catskills who wasn't Jewish or was Jewish but didn't realize he was Jewish, and then he found a menorah. He bought by accident a menorah that had the name of his father in the Warsaw Ghetto. It came from the menorah that he hid and he built during the Warsaw Ghetto, just to Mekayim the mitzvah of their Hanukkah. And he fainted, he almost died, and he became, the way my brother-in-law said, he moved to Lakewood and he became Rosh Hashiva in Lakewood, and Torres Moshe in Lakewood. I thought Torres Moshe was in Israel. I was joking, of course. There is no Torres Moshe in Lakewood. Maybe there is. I don't know. But that wasn't part of the story. It was really a true story. My father-in-law has told the story. He got it from my father-in-law. And what are my impressions of a zitz? Oh, and then we got into a discussion about, he's into Kirouf. I asked him what he wants to dedicate his life to. He said he wants to get his life to bringing Jews closer, far away Jews closer to Klal Yisrael. Kirouf is, and I asked him, what's the source for Kirouf? Is this something that Judaism believes in? We know that by Gerus, people even if people come to us and tell us they want to be Megayer, we try to push them away. We say it's better not to become Jewish. Too many laws to take upon yourself. So when it comes to Gerus, even turning to a non-Jew, even the person comes to himself, culture gang, you don't go to a person and try to be Megayer them. So by Kirouf, where he is Jewish, the people are Jewish, it would seem same idea. You're not going to go out and be Megayer of them, but there is a big movement. Obviously, people know about this. Isha Torah started by Isha Torah or Sameach. It was eventually, I think, it was originally started as Shema Yisrael was called. Weinberg and the person from Or Sameach, Mendel Weinbach, I think. They split. It became Rish and Or Sameach. Difference of opinion. If you want a difference of opinion, go ask them. Go ask someone from Isha Torah or Sameach. They'll be able to tell you the great machlok. I don't know the difference of opinion. Anyway, and there's other Kirouf yeshivas that have sprouted up over the years, and I said basically it's a new thing. Kirouf is not something which has been around for a long time. I don't recall in pre-war Europe having Kirouf yeshivas. They were lucky enough that people were able to learn in yeshiva. They didn't have enough food even for people that learn in yeshiva. They had to sleep on the benches in the shuls and get food from the local patrons, from the local people in the city, to send to the shuls to eat. They didn't have these fancy cafeterias we have now, and nice, comfortable American mattresses. Where's the source for Kirouf? Is it a Kirouf? So he did quote my brother-in-law. He asked me what I want to dedicate my life to. I said I want to be a big YouTuber. Well, there's an opinion of what we want to dedicate our lives to, but he showed me a Kitzur Sefer HaMitzvos, B'Shem HaChafetz Chaim, under the mitzvah of Ahavta L'Reich, Ahavta Hashem Elokecha, loving Hashem. Part of the mitzvah is to Makarev people in Klal Yisrael that He says, Leis Kari, people in Klal Yisrael that are not keeping the mitzvahs. It is very clear there. Now, this is a sefer written by the Chavetz Chaim. This is not written anywhere in the Gemara. The Chavetz Chaim brings a proof for his position from a pasuk in Parshas Lech Lecha, I think. It's a nefesh asher asu b'choron. The people that Rashi says, Avram Magayeres Hanoshim, Sarah Magayeres Hanoshim. Avram was Magayer men, and Sarah was Magayeres the woman. So you see, as the Chavetz Chaim says, you see that there's a mitzvah to Makariv Jews. Now, there's a couple of problems with this. First of all, there were no Jews. There were a couple of people at this Zitz last night, and they were pointing out there were no Jews. So it's Geirus, but right, there were no Jews. So what is it called Geirus for? The Geirus is if you take a non-Jew and make him Jewish. There was no Jews. Some say maybe he was talking about he was Makayim Zayim Mitzvahs Bnei Noach, and he was Magayer other people who was Makayim Zayim Mitzvahs Bnei Noach. Now the problem is that it says the word Magayer. Kirouf means that you're both on the same plane, right? You're both Jews or you're both non-Jews, and you want to Makariv, then you wanted to be more religious, more observant of the mitzvahs. The problem is the lashon of Geirus, Magayer. Even if you want to say Avram Avinu only had Zayim Mitzvahs Bnei Noach, and the rest of the people didn't keep Zayim Mitzvahs Bnei Noach, it says he was Magayer them. It doesn't say he was Makariv them. So I would assume it means that they came, the people saw Avram, they were in awe of Avraham, and they came to him, and they asked to be Magayer. Magayer, like the regular halachas of Geirus, so you pushed them away, and still, Nevesh Asu B'charon, he took them in, he tried to dissuade them, and then he took them in. That would be the simple explanation, the way I understand it. It wouldn't be... That's a problem with the Chavetz Chaim's proof, is because Magayer doesn't say Makariv. Anyway, there's much to be discussed about this issue. I'm sure if you go to Eish HaTorah and Or Sameach, it'll give you 1,000 reasons why it's missing Makariv people. Anyway, that's the discussion for today. And a little trailer. Hopefully we're going to be producing a huge mega hit video. It's supposed to go viral. That's what the weather forecasters are saying. It's going to go viral. Actually, no. Not the weather forecasters. The what are they called? The disease specialists. The disease specialists. They said it's going to go viral, this video. Viral is an interesting word, virus. It's a little joke. The special disease. I don't know what Dr. Fauci is, whatever they're called. Those special doctors, they said that I'm joking. It's going to go viral, the video. We're going to have a video. It's going to be amazing about how I went from a poor person to a rich person and how I use that money for good causes on Hanukkah. All right. The Gemara on Chav Aleph from base on the bottom. We were talking about last time about this guy Abu Umna, who was a doctor, a surgeon. He seemingly was on a higher level than Abaye. So Abaye wasn't happy that he was a higher level than him. So he wanted to test him to see if he really was a tzaddik or not. Yom Echad Shadar, second to last line on Chav Aleph from base. Yom Echad Shadar Abaye Zuga Rabbanan Lemivdike. Abaye sent a pair of Rabbanan to check him out. Osvinuhu v'achlinu v'ashkinu. He gave them food and drink. Umachlu bistraki v'lelia. When they wanted to go to sleep at night after their bloodletting, so he rolled up woolen Persian rugs. He had Persian rugs. He rolled them up for them for pillows. L'safra karchinu v'shaklinu v'kamu v'nafkulu l'shoka. In the morning they kind of stole them. They took it with them. The Talmidei Chachamim v'ashkachinu, and they found Abu Umna in the shuk. Tell us, how much are these things worth? You seem to be a rich man. You're a doctor. How much are these Persian rugs worth? Amrle haki v'haki. He said, this is my estimation. Seemingly they wanted to sell it to him according to the article. Amrle v'dil mashavu tvei. They said, maybe, how do you know maybe it's worth more than these are Persian rugs. These are real things. Amrle b'haki shaklinhu. He says, I bought the exact ones for this price that I'm telling you. Amrle didachnu. They finally admitted to him, they're really yours. We just were testing you to see if you're a tzaddik. Obviously, you're a big tzaddik that you didn't suspect us from taking it from you. V'shaklinu minach, we took it from you. Amalei matusa minach v'may chashatina. Please let me ask you, what did you think when we took when were you choshed us? Did you suspect that we took it? Amalei amina pidyon shvuyim iklu rabban. I said, really, I knew you took them, but I figured that you were doing pidyon shvuyim. You were redeeming people, captives. And you were embarrassed to ask me for money. I'm relay hasha, and therefore you wanted to sell them and make money that way. I'm relay hasha nashklinu mar. They said once this test is over, you just take them back. I'm mahu shaita asklinu medatai l'tzedakah. The minute you took them, I had in mind that if I ever got them back, they're going to tzedakah. Have a kachal shadaiti the Rava. So Rava, who only got Shalom Aleichem Baskol once a year, I got every Erev Shabbos. Bishum de Abai, he was embarrassed about Abai. Amrle mistayach the kamaganis akula karchal. You have another mila, even though you're going to Shalom Aleichem once a year, but you protect your entire city. Maybe Abai doesn't. Rabroka Chozah have a shkiach b'shukah de beilefet. Rabroka the Chozah, he was a descendant of the Chozah Lublin. Not joking. He was it was common for him to be in this place, in this marketplace in Beilefet. Have a shkiach Eliyahu Gabel. Eliyahu frequented him. Amalei Ika Bahai Shuka Bar Alma Da'asa. He asked him, tell me, is there anyone who is Zocha or is living in Olam Haba in this Shuk? Amalei Lo. He said, no. In the meantime, some came with black shoes. He was wearing black shoes. He wasn't wearing tzitzis. I'm like, hi, bar alma da'asyu. So Eliyahu, when he saw him, he said, this guy, he's living in Olam Haba. Rod Basrei, he ran after him. I'm like, my uvdach. He said, what do you do? I'm like, Zil, I didn't never tell him nothing. I can't tell you now. Go to him today. Come back tomorrow, I'll tell you. I'm like, my uvdach. I'm like, my uvdach. The next day he asked him, what do you do? I'm like, Zandukna, ano. I'm a warden in jail. Vasrana Gabri Lachud Vinashe Lachud. I incarcerate the men separately and the women separately. Ramina Puraya Ben Hani Lahani. I put my bed between the men and the women. Kehechi delays to the Asura, they shouldn't come to illicit relations. Kechazina Bas Yisrael, the Havi Nachrama Alayu Alayinayu. When I see a Jewish girl, prisoner, that the Gentile wardens have their eyes on. Masan and Afshai Matzlin Allah. I do whatever I can to save her from them. Yom Achad Havas Naramurasa. There was a woman who was engaged, betrothed, and she was in jail. Gaban. The Havaman Nachram Enayu, the Nachram wanted to start up with her. Shakli Durdaya, the Chamra Vishadala Bishipule. I took the sediments of wine and I threw it on her dress to look like it was red, to look like she's a nida. Amri Distanahi. He said she's a nida, and therefore they were repulsed by her. They didn't want to be together with her. Amalei, my time, Malays Lachachut. He asked him, why are you wearing tzitzis? Ram is Basana Yochim, why are you wearing black shoes? It used to be they only wore white shoes, not black shoes. Black shoes associated with the Goyim. When Chris Webber, the Fab Five, started putting on black shoes, that's how it became associated with the Goyim. I actually went to America, I bought black sneakers, so I don't know. I mean, I'm a Jewish guy. Anyway, I'm Jewish, of course. I'm just joking. My wife says whenever I make jokes, which is whenever I say things that are not related directly to the words of the Gemara, usually it's a joke. And I have to tell people I'm not joking. If people don't know who I am, they don't realize that I joke about 99% of the things I say. All right. My time why you're wearing black shoes? I pass. I'm like an undercover agent for the Mossad. I go between the Jews. They shouldn't know that I'm Jewish. Gazri Tanisa, Gazri Gzerta, when they make a Gzera, why did he want to know that he was Jewish? Because sometimes there goes their Gzera, the king, Caesar, Modanal, who I'll tell them, the Rabbanon, I'll tell the rabbis what they're saying. They'll know what to daven for in Mavatal Gzera. My time at Yamina Lachana, my Uvdach, I asked you what you do. I'm Martha Zil, I didn't have Talamach. He told me to come back tomorrow. I'm like, Shaita, Gazri Gzeta. At that time, they actually would go there Gzera to abolish the Jews, Torah mitzvos, or physically. I mean, Bereisha, Ezel, Ishmael, Rabbanon. He said, first I have to run tell the Rabbanon, Libai Rachme Allah, the mill, so they should daven for it. In the meantime, Asu Hanoch Trey. Asi. Amrle, Hanachnami b'nei Alma da Asi. And two more people came. Eliyahu said, these other people are also living in Olam Haba. Azal Gabayu. Went over to the Amrlu Mayuv Daich. What do you do? Amrle, Anshe Beduche Anan, Mavdechinan, Atzive. We're funny people, like me. We make sad people happy. That's how you know I'm a Ben Olam Haba. Ina Mikazina Beit Trade is who Tigra. If I see two people have a fight, I make peace between people who are quarreling, who are fighting. It's very important to make peace. Jared Kushner is a Bein Olam Haba. He made peace between Israel and the UAE and Bahrain. All right, Donald Trump also Bein Olam Haba. Donald Trump is a Bein Olam Haba. He really is. All right. Il Masriyan B'chol Makom. On the following people, you cry out. On the following tragedies or calamities, you cry out to Hashem. Any place, al shidafon, al yirakon. If the wind is very strong, it ruins the grains, al yirakon, or yellows the grains, val arbe, val two types of grasshoppers, val chayra, or terrible beasts, wild beasts. Even if there's a little bit of strong winds or yellowing of the grains, I guess because too sunny. Even though only you see one wing, ours says one grasshopper. It seems like even if the wing of the grasshopper gets detached from the grasshopper, it's enough to Masriya to call on it. It has to be something which is abnormal, which is seen as a divine shliach, a divine shlichus from Hashem, that Hashem is sending them to wake them up. It has to be something abnormal, unusual. Then you don't cry. Is he mishalach? It's what's considered chaya ra. That's mishalach. If the animal appears in the city, mishalach, that's abnormal. Beside the ain't mishalach. If it's in the field, that's where wild animals live. Yom mishalach. If you get a day, it's mishalach. But laila ain't mishalach. At night, it's not. Rasa shnei bnei adam v'rasa acharein. If it sees two people, runs after them. That's you on weird. One person that can run after. The two people doesn't usually run after. Mishalach nechves b'bnei. If it hides from two people, then it's ain't mishalach. Tarfa shnei bnei adam achla echamhem. It killed two people and it only ate one of them, left one over. Mishulachas achla shnein. If it eats two of them, and mishulachas, it was very hungry. Also, the gag another tinok marisa mishulachas. Again, if it goes up to the roof of a house and it takes a child in from its crib, that's unusual. Off mishulachas. Haguvakasha. So the Gemara says it doesn't make sense. Amar nirasa be'ir mishulachas. If it appears in the city, it's considered abnormal. Shluchos from Hashem. Loshna b'yom, loshna b'layla. It seems whether you see it during the day or even at night. Other amars b'yom mishalach. Then we see it only if it's during the day, not during the night. If it's seen during the day in the city, it's mishalachas. If you see it in the city, even though it's in the city, as long as it's night, so there's sometimes animals venture into the city at night. Inami basada feel b'yom and mishalachas. Alternatively, you see in the Sada, even during the day, it's not Mishulachas, that's where they normally stay. It chased after two people. But if it stays still, sees two people and just stays in its place, we said if it sees two people and it hides, it runs away from the two people, then it's not Mishulachas. Which implies what? That if it stays in its place, it is Mishulachas, no kasha. If it's a field which is close to the marsh, we're talking about, let's say, alligators or crocodiles. The Nile crocodile, very dangerous. If you know the difference between a crocodile and an alligator, people don't know the difference between an alligator and a crocodile. Alligators have rectangular mouths, and crocodiles have V-shaped mouths. Anyway, the Nile crocodile is one of the most fearsome crocodiles out there, and crocodiles are more predatory. Alligators are not more, unless you instigate an alligator, it's probably not going to bite you, but crocodiles will be predatory sometimes. Good to know. Funniest places called Nile crocodiles for a right reason. A lot of times they're near the Nile River, from the Nile River. In Africa, you see them a lot. So the Gemara says, if it's a sada smuka la'agum, it's next to the marsh, next to the pond where it's the alligators are. Sometimes you see in golf courses that the alligators or crocodiles come out from the marsh. So then it's a confidence. So then only if it runs away, then it's not and even if it's standing in its place, it's not considered mishulach. That's normal if it's standing in its place. It could easily just get away to the marsh. But if it's a sadeh which is not smuka la'agum, there's nowhere to run to, then only, and even if it's standing in its place, it's considered mishulach because that's abnormal. If it eats both people, it's not abnormal. It's hungry. If it eats one, it's abnormal. We said even if it runs after, even if it doesn't eat any of them, it's mishulach. When we said that it has to eat the people, that's talking about um, where it's next to an agam, where it's next to a marsh. So, a marsh could escape very easily, so therefore only if it eats them is considered abnormal. But if it runs after them, so then anywhere it's mishalachas. Guva also the gag v'nat latina marista mishalach pshita. Pshita is a very weird thing to go up to a roof of a house and take a child. Or a papa kuke kakuke decided we're talking about not a regular house, we're talking about hunters. They make these makeshift houses in the fields, which are very small, and they make a roof. And for some reason the hunters are bringing their child with them, the young child, wife. She went to the Beit Achlama, and she went to the convalescence home, and they needed to take the child with them on their hunting expeditions, and they made a place on the roof of their huts for the child. So then, even though it's in its natural habitat, the animal comes and takes from the roof. That's considered abnormal, and we cry out for that. When we talk about a sword, meaning an army passing through your land, we don't, of course, um, if they're attacking you, then you cry out. Even though it's an army, they're not attacking you, they're just passing through your land to get to someone else, to fight someone else, it's still worthy crying out. There was a story of Paro Necha, we're going to see in a second, that he was Cherev Shal Shalom, he wasn't planning on attacking, he was just passing through Israel to get to Ashur, to get to Assyria, to get to Persia. Yoshiyahu, the king, messed up, he ended up dying. Shnemar v'shliach of Beis Hamikdash v'yishlach elav malachim lemor mali v'lach melech Yehuda lo lecha ta'yom ki al beis malub chamdi ve'elokim asher levaleni chadalecha Elohim asher imi v'ali shchisecha. Paro Necha sent Yoshiyahu. Yoshiyahu protested that he was passing through his land. He said, "I'm not going fighting with you. I'm just doing what my God is telling me to do, to fight with a different nation, with Assyria. Don't get involved. I'm going to destroy you also." My Elohim Asher Imi. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav Zuba Zara. He was referring to his Avodah Zara. Amar Hol V'Kavata Avodah Zara. Yoshiyahu said, since he's depending on his Avodah Zara, Yachil I can defeat him because we see he's depending on, he's relying on Avodah Zara. So I guess he was an enemy also. He figured Yoshiyahu had a chance to beat him. But Yorah Yorin Lamelech Yoshiyahu Yomer Melech Avodav Haviruni Kichleisim. Oh, it ended up they shot arrows and they killed. They killed him with the arrows. He told him while he was dying, "Remove me because I'm very sick." There were so many arrows that pierced his body. His body became like a sieve, the blood pouring out of his body. Why was he punished? He should have consulted Yirmiyahu before starting out with Paro Necha, but he didn't do that. My darash. What was the reason he assumed he could beat him? It says, when the blessings of Klal Yisrael, it says in the Torah, a sword, meaning a passing army, won't pass through your land. It's an attacking army. It decided already that I'm going to bring peace in your land. Even if it's a cherev that's of peace, they're not attacking us, they're just passing through. He didn't know. He didn't know that it wasn't a time of blessing. He didn't know that his generation was mechuyeves. It was a time of klala, not bracha. When he was dying, Yahweh saw that he was saying something very quietly. Amar Agiv Sar, maybe he's saying something terrible to Hashem, cursing Hashem because of his pain. He bent down. They heard him the Kamatzdik al Adina. He was praising Hashem for the righteous din. Anafshe Amar Tzadik Ashu Hashem kipiu marisi. Yishayahu said, Hashem is just because I went against his word. Pasach alei Yishaisa. When Yirmiyahu heard this, he started eulogizing as follows: Ruach Hapeinu Mashiach Hashem, the wind of his mouth, his words. He is the anointed one of Hashem. He's the king. There was an incident. This Canaan went from Yerushalayim to their city. And then they saw the amount of wheat that is blown by the shidaf. How much is it? An oven full of grain. Or much more, you need an oven full of bread that's made from the grain. Altana grain. Tashma. Kamali pi toner. It says the mouth of the toner. The mouth of the toner sounds like there's bread in there. You still have a question. Is it enough that when you close the oven, you stick bread even on the cover and the lid of the oven? Or Dilmar, without the cover and just the bread on the walls, the hadalei lapuma around the mouth, the tanura take it, we're not sure. But gazru Taanit al shachlu zeivim. Amar ula mishur mishimin yotzadak. Ma'isa bol zeivim shtei tinokos. There was an incident: 2 wolves swallowed 2 children. Hakim derech beis harei, and they went to the bathroom and they excreted them through the beis harei. They made them into feces. They said that the children's flesh is tahor, because excrement is tahor, even though normally human flesh is tameh, it's tameh mace. But once it's already went through the animals, it's just waste products. It's tar. It's tahor, but timos atzamos. But bones are not digestible. They're not really considered eaten, so their bones is tameh. A city was besieged by goyim, or a river is overflowing its banks, or a svina or a boat is threatened to be drowned in the river of Echad Yachish near the Bnei Nachrim, or a person being chased by goyim, they list him, or bandits of Bnei Ruach Ra, evil spirit. Al Kol Yachid Rasha L'Sagav Sasma B'Tainis. Tanna Kama holds a person is allowed to declare a fast on himself in order to try to get rid of this problem. Any Yachid himself can't do it. Maybe he's gonna run out of food. People are not going to be merciful on him. My time at Riyossi, what's the reason? That embraces a person should be nevesh chaya. And the shamash and asati b'chaya, the Gemara darshans, the shaman I gave you, keep it alive. Don't fast unnecessarily. Shema Timony Omer Afal Dever Ibaylu Lohodalo Chamim B'Shabbos of B'chol Hodalo. The Chamim, when they argued on Rishon Temani, they said you don't call out for Dever. Is that just on Shabbos? Because you're not supposed to make daven on Shabbos. You're not supposed to call out for Racham on Shabbos. Of B'chol Hodalo. Chol they would call out for Dever. Dilma Lohodalo Klam. Maybe they say on Dever you never call out. Tashma Tanya Masrin al Dever B'Shabbos and Yisrael Chlam Rechol. That's the first sheet. Of course, you call out. This is the sheet of the Chamim. You don't call out Dever Kol, even though we said before that you make fast and you call out for Dever for sure. Pestilence, that's talking about Dever of people, a plague. Here we're talking about Dever of animals. I'll call Tzara Shalatav al Tzibur. I'll call Tzara Shalatav al Tzibur Masrin al Chutz Meirov Geshamim. The only thing you don't call it for is when you have an excess of rain. My time, Rabbi Yochanan Lefishem, it's Pal Rova Tova. You don't daven if something's very good. You don't daven that it should go away. How do you know if something is in abundance, maybe a little too much to handle? You don't daven it should go away. The pasuk continues ad blidai, my ad blidai. Blidai means that your lips will get worn out from saying enough. You still accept that. The blessing of Hashem. Rami bar of Yud, Bagol Masrin Aleh. In Bavel, where it was lowland and they had a very fertile land, if there's a lot of rain, you do call it out because then it's going to ruin the houses. There's a lot of rain. The people on the Mishmar, the Kohanim, sent to the Maimid, the Yisraelim, daven for them. That it should stop raining in Bavel, so their houses should become deluged, overflowed with water. And where in Eretz Yisrael, how much Geshamim fall, and to the point that we should daven, they should stop. He's standing in this place, a tall place, carrying Eiffel, and his feet, he should be able to dabble his feet in water, meaning something which is impossible. Meaning you never daven in Eretz Yisrael that water that it should stop raining. Atanya Yadav, Bryce says his hands, not his feet. Gemara says Raglav ki Yadav. Raglav the same thing as Yadav, just means Yadav he bends over and dabbles his fingers in the water. Okay, I mean either way it's impossible. Amar Rachani never daven. I saw this place carrying Eiffel. The Kamu Taya Kirouf Gamla V'Nakir Rumcha Biyade Mischazik and Niba. A certain Arab is riding on his donkey, I guess. Sorry, a camel, and he held a spear in his hand. And from Karen Eiffel, he was on the lowland. From Karen Eiffel, this mountainous region, this hill. He looked like a little ant. Or he looked like a worm or something like that. He was very small. Says in Shkriya Shema, I'll give your, says in Torah actually, I'll give your, not Shkriya Shema, I'll give your Shamim and Shas Bracha in the right time. Lo Shkura v'lo Smeya. The land won't be Shikura, it won't be drunk, it won't have too much. V'lo Smeya, it won't have too little. El Beinonis, the bracha is, the best bracha is to have a medium madre. Shkol Shman Shamim Merubim, Mitashnis Haaretz Ein Masiyah Peiros. If there's too much rain, it ruins, it makes the ground too muddy, and it doesn't have peiros, don't grow the way they're supposed to grow. See you a little bit later, the next year. Bye.